I'm really sick. I've been sleeping all day today. I went to class in the morning and then I just couldn't take it. Everything in my face hurts. And I've been sleeping all day and I woke up just having a coughing attack. And I really miss everyone at home right now.
I am not your average journalist. I travel and I settle in each place. And in this vlog, I'll invite you into my life. I'll let you get to know me and the place I'm making stories about. I've always dreamt about having everything I own in one backpack and living on the road. I'm also as curious today as I was when I, as a child, for the first time discovered that I could actually ask questions. Where and what am I up to next?
Alright, so the reason I broke down was not only because I was alone and sick. It was a relief of a lot of tense and mixed feelings that I hadn't expressed or worked through. I hadn't defined or I wasn't aware of why I had a weird feeling. And it all comes down to this. Moving to a new place is harder than I thought. I've only been here for 3 weeks now, but the way I've been here is different than if I would have been here on a visit. And I've settled both emotionally and physically. And so the exhaustion that I've been feeling comes from having to adjust to new things constantly. Now, when I was younger, we moved around a lot. As a child, I lived in a lot of different cities in Sweden and also Dubai and London. But in my grown-up self, I haven't had this experience of moving abroad. And so in my head, I've had an extremely romanticized picture of always exploring. It has been and still is, of course, my calling in life, but now I'm here and literally everything is new. The food, the going to the grocery store. I still haven't found that one place that I always go to, so every time is a new place. The new parking rules, the new language, reading instructions on a product that I bought, the package of the product. Public transport, the way you do things at the university, everything in life is new. In the beginning, it's really exciting, but after a while, it's really exhausting. It's like pausing up for a brief moment, learning the new way quickly because you have to go about your day and quickly adjusting constantly in your daily life. With this being said, I couldn't have it any other way. Because like everything else in life, when you want to accomplish something, it's not always easy or a dance on roses. Sometimes it's challenging and it's hard, and sometimes you feel lonely and small, but it's all forming you, it's developing you and opening your mind. In the last episode, I said that I would do more things, more conscious things, and be aware of my experiences, and I really have. So much that a conversation with a classmate at dinner brought us to tears. So my faculty at the university arranged a welcome dinner for all the international students, and I decided to let go of my new closest friends here for the dinner to have the opportunity of meeting some new people. And there is a German girl, her name is Miriam, and she takes some of the courses that I am in. And I was particularly interested in her because I found her inputs on our lectures interesting and smart. So I sat in front of her at the dinner, and I appreciate a conversation where you don't always agree, where you can discuss different perspectives and maybe you'll agree on some little thing that you have in common. But with Miriam, everything was a recognition factor. Everything became a deep dive. Everything around us became oblivious and Miriam was in focus. It was like the table's distance between us was too far, and I leaned over the table and I articulated and gestured with all of my strength because I was so engaged in the conversation with her. Everything was so incredibly interesting. We talked about racism and if racists are victims, and about how important it is to recognize that you have things in common with people that you think that are as different from you as possible. We talked about Uganda because we've both been there, and I told her that it was my project, the Robin Hood World Wave, that took me to Uganda, and this led us to talk about the white man's burden. We diagnosed the world, and we were excited about each other's perspectives, and she told me about an article that she wrote about the subject. And we discussed how we are concerned with how the Western world is still breathing a colonial attitude because we believe that our way is the civilized way and that we need to enlighten people and cultures and countries. We also talked about the complexity of society and society's inhabitants with all intersections, and on the other hand, how uncomplex and narrow classic media is. Miriam told me about what had taken her to Uganda. She worked at an NGO for women's rights in Kampala. The organization works with, among other things, with sharing exposed women's stories. Miriam told me about the recorded interviews that she listened to. While she was telling me what some women had been through, her eyes filled up with tears, and I saw how she struggled to maintain her tone because the lump in her throat made it hard. And the stories she told, the moment that we were in, the joy I felt about having met her, I was pretty choked up too. So last week I went to see the Portugal-Italy football match, and Andrew Silva pushed a Ronaldo-less Portugal past Italy in Nations League. He scored 3 minutes after halftime to give the Portuguese their first win over Italy in a competitive match since 1957. Italy, who missed out on this year's World Cup for the first time in 60 years, were after the match without a win for 4 competitive matches in a row. So this was a really important match for both, even though it was a friendly match, and I only realized that when I did research for this vlog. I saw the match with my new friends, the 2 German guys, Kia and Elias, and the Italian guy, Nicola. It was of course special to have an Italian with us since we were watching Portugal playing on home territory. It has always fascinated me how football brings so many people that are so incredibly emotionally raw together. Sometimes I feel like it's as powerful as religion, if not even more powerful. And so of course it was amazing to see Portugal play against Italy. So my friend Tua invited me to a Fado evening last week. We met up at Praça do Municipio and had some sangria, and we listened, and it was my first time hearing Fado and I didn't know much about it before. And I remember leaving the place feeling quite torn up and emotional. So I decided to learn more about Fado, and the next day I visited the Fado Museum. And I've learned that Fado literally means fate or destiny, and it is Lisbon's version of the blues. It's marked by vocals dripping with heartache, accompanied by a Portuguese 12-string guitar. It originates in the streets of Alfama, the neighborhood where I live, in the 19th century. Each ballad evokes Portuguese emotion of saudade, a yearning or longing for something lost. While a newer variety of fado exists in the central Portuguese city of Coimbra, performed exclusively by men, Lisbon's more famous Fado scenes has always been dominated by women. Alright, this coming week I'm working on finding interesting people to feature in the magazine, and I've talked to an amazing woman that works at my university, and I think she'll hook me up with some people. And I'm also reaching out to NGOs in Portugal. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share and like. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like what you see. Alright, see you in the next episode.